Teacher, cultural practitioner, and community leader. She was born in the Nu'uanu district of Oahu Island and educated at Kamehameha Schools and the University of Hawaii. She was a founding member of Kumu HIna, a community organization established to improve the quality of life for mahu wahine, transgender women. She is currently the cultural director at Halaulokahi, a public charter school dedicated to using Native Hawaiian culture, history, and education as tools for developing and empowering the next generation of warrior scholars. She and her students have been invited to participate in numerous events in Hawaii and abroad, including trips to Tahiti, Aotearoa, and Japan. Hina also serves as a leader in many community affairs and civic activities, including as chair of the Oahu Island Burial Council, which oversees the management of Native Hawaiian burial sites and ancestral remains. In 2014, Hina announced her bid for a position on the board of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, the first transgender candidate to run for statewide political office in the United States. Welcome, Hina. Also, we are honored to have Joe Wilson, who is a co-director and producer. Joe Wilson got involved in documentary filmmaking through his professional work and social activism on human rights issues. Frustrated by the limitations of traditional organizing and advocacy, he picked up a camera with hopes of reaching broader audiences with stories that would inform and compel people to act. Otros Amores, his debut film, won the Videomaker National Documentary Film Challenge. Together with Q-Wave's co-founder Dean Hamer, his films on controversial and often ignored human rights issues have won jury and audience awards and official selection at more than 100 film festivals around the country and the world, and received widespread attention for their role in promoting social change. Welcome, Joe Wilson. And then our third panelist is Quinn Daluz, who is a fabulous student here at KCC. And Quinn, you're also on the sustainability promotion team and health promotion team. Okay, so welcome, Quinn. And my name is Mayana Minahal. I'm an instructor here of English and writing in the Kahikolo'amea department. And I'm just going to kind of help facilitate the discussion here. So obviously you've all seen the film, and this was a really amazing movie about a Native Hawaiian transgender activist here in Oahu. And this film is very inspiring and uplifting, right? It's a story of a Native Hawaiian LGBT activist whose story is very empowering and positive and inspiring. Unlike a lot of other stories we've seen before where maybe it ends in tragedy or some kind of painful end, right? So first, I just want to thank you for coming, for making this film, making this story available for us here. I just wonder if there's anything that you want to say before maybe we open it up to questions, maybe anything about the making of the film, or maybe how this film has impacted you now that it's out in the world and it's been in different film festivals.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, for the way that you framed that. I think that's exactly the point of the film. And again, thanks everyone, not just for being here, for staying for this discussion, because this is the reason we make films, right? One, to engage in stories, hopefully stories that kind of help to illuminate and bring kind of new ideas to the fore, but also as ways for all of us as people who live together in our communities to talk about these things and figure out how we move forward together to make the world a better place. The way that you frame the film as a story of something positive is really what we endeavored to do with this film, because as most of you know, when the stories of people who are forced by society to live on the margins are told, they're generally not happy stories, right, for obvious reasons. It's about the struggles that people go through. And Dean, my partner, and I, who made this film, coming from the continent and making films about these kind of subjects, that was our experience too. That the lives of people who inhabit the margins of our society are just so tragic. And we came out here and through a mutual friend met Hinale, and we saw that it didn't have to be that way. And in many places, Hawaii in particular, there are cultural philosophies that have very different perspectives on, in this case, what maybe in the US we would refer to as LGBT or T, lesbian, gay, bi, and trans, or anybody who doesn't fit within the gender construct of the particular community where they are. In Hina's life, her teaching, her community activism, her family, we're very thrilled that her mother is actually in the audience with us here today too. Just their kind of way of living was such a positive and inspiring way of just kind of being who they are in the community. And we felt quite lucky to be able to work with Hina to help tell a little bit of her life story. And that's really the point of the film. And maybe later on, after Hina talks and you can maybe share some of your thoughts and questions, we'll tell you some of the exciting plans we have for this film and the educational work ahead.
Aloha mai. Aloha. Mahalo anu ko Kumu HIna. Mahalo ia oko kano ana mai. Kana ana ani ke ia ki ani pa ia. O kaleo mahalo me kaleo aloha ho ke ia oko. Aloha. It is an honor to be here to share the next short while with all of you and to hopefully share something that will give you a different insight on at least my life, and if it has any meaning or significance, or if it is able to impact you and to avail itself to your life, then all the more it becomes even more worth it with each individual's story and your gain. The reason why I was amiable to Joe and Dean's request to be a part of this documentary film and to allow them to follow me in, as you saw in the film, follow me through personal times in my life, follow me in my professional setting. The main idea was that there had to be some element of the story that was going to help someone. Something, even if it's just one little bit of telling my personal story, if it could make you stronger, or make you feel better, or help you to think of a different way to contribute to your own life and whatever it is that you might be experiencing or dealing with. And then all the more, giving of that time was even more worth it. And so the film has traveled quite significantly and it's impacted many people, but this showing of the film is no different from any other showing, and you are now the body of people that have seen the film and received its message, and hopefully you too will become yet that one next person who has gained something, some kind of insight, something to contribute to your well-being. Mahalo.
I'm wondering if there are any questions from the audience? Any questions?
I just heard the news again about your school. Yeah. So.
I actually, the bio that you read needs to be updated.
Yeah.
I've not been at Halal Public Charter School since November of last year. And I don't have young students anymore. I have adult students now in the business sector of Honolulu. So I don't teach in a public school setting. And yes, it's unfortunate that those who got behind the school are dealing with what they deal with, but well, that's a whole nother story. And
So you're not involved with them anymore?
no, yes, well, just to answer your question, I wasn't in accord with how things were handled in the media. And I guess I might as well let that be a lesson. For each and every one of you in here who watch the news, you listen to the radio, you read the newspaper, I challenge you to the same challenge that one of my former university professors challenged me with years ago. And she said to challenge challenge what you hear and what you see, and don't just believe it for its face value. Always know that there may be more than one perspective to whatever it is you're being shown, whatever it is you're being told. And such is the case with the story that came out about Halal Public Charter School. The school was painted to be in a particular situation. Its former leadership was painted to be criminal. And because I did not agree with how the story was framed and just how much the news media did not listen to the other perspectives like mine and others who came out about it, they put the spin on it and what they wanted. And so the new leadership followed on the tails of that. And so it's unfortunate, but that is the result of what they wanted. So no love lost. Unfortunately, one of the highlights that will always remain very dear and special to me is that for 13 years of my life, Halal Lokahi was a big contributor. I may have contributed a lot to it, but it also in turn had contributed much to me. And it allowed Joe and Dean to capture moments of our high points and the successes that came out of Halal Lokahi. And so if you detect a little bit of that no love lost, and if you sense that, it's very true. Because the story that you all received in the news media about the school said nothing about any of our successes.
Yeah.
Nothing. And so
I'm just curious what's going to happen to Ohunani. I know some students are transferred to other...
she left 2 years now.
Yeah.
She left the school.
And she's in a public school?
Yes.
And I wonder how she's doing.
I think she's doing okay.
Oh, that's good. I think you instilled that sense of pride and
and hopefully the cultural learnings that the students received at that school, hopefully it stays with the students whom we've touched. And I know it has for many of the students who keep in touch with me, that it always stays with them.
That's great.
But as I mentioned earlier, don't believe what you see and read just right off the bat. Just because you heard I heard it on the radio. Ask yourself the question, is that the only scenario? Challenge yourself to be a critical thinker and challenge yourself to analyze and think about, is that the only way to see this story? If you are the kind of people who follow blindly, then your time here may be for naught. You need to, even all of your instructors and the people that you work with here.
It's like the movie.
As you saw in the film, it's always
Because in the case of the Kumu HIna film, If someone were to say, oh, this is the Hawaiian way of life, that's not the Hawaiian way of life. The Hawaiian way of life is diverse. My story is but one story. And I know that my way of interpreting my understanding of Hawaiian culture and life may differ from the next person to the next, from one family to another, from island to island and the regions in the island. It is but one story. This cannot serve as the clearance, the clearinghouse for all things Hawaiian. It is no way near that. It was my understanding of aloha. And so it's very important that you've seen this film, you just know that there are Hawaiians in the community who would feel differently. Just like the story of Halau Lukahi. There are Hawaiians and non-Hawaiians who will be of great support to the name Halau Lukahi, and there are those who don't. So please walk away with that understanding. Be critical thinkers, analyze and process what you see, what you hear, what you read, and think about the issues that lay before you, and you make your decision on how you want to feel about something if you thought like this about it.
Another question in the back.
Question for Joe Wilson. First of all, beautifully made film. For those people in the audience who aspire to do something like it, could you give us some insight into how you got funding? How did you go to put this together from a business perspective?
Sure. Are there any aspiring filmmakers in the audience? That's a very important question because I think this really relates to probably any way that you seek to tell the story that you feel passionate about. It takes a lot of work and a lot of perseverance. I think much like Hina was trying to teach her students, whatever it is you're trying to pursue in life, you have to commit everything you have to it. We were fortunate once that we knew kind of what the story was going to be, that Hina was going to really allow us to kind of follow her in the way that she did. We went to the potential funders that really commit to this kind of work. For us, that's public television. So it's very competitive, but we had to go through a series of application and review processes in the public television world, where we got full production funding from something called ITVS, the Independent Television Service. It's based in San Francisco, and they provided full production funding for this, as well in partnership with another PBS strand of funding called Pacific Islanders in Communications. It's a Honolulu-based entity that provides funding and other kinds of support to people, particularly the hope is to fund Pacific Islanders themselves, to tell Pacific Islander stories. We were very lucky to be working in collaboration with Hina, and therefore got funding from PIC as well. The total budget for this film was about $400,000, and that is the paying of editors and a lot of the post-production and technical work that's involved. As a result of PBS funding the film, they're actually going to broadcast it. So I'm really thrilled to announce today that this will be on one of the premier strands on PBS. It's called Independent Lens. It airs nationally on Monday nights, and the premiere of Kumu HIna is coming up on May 4th. So we're quite excited that, Hina talks very humbly, I think, about this being, kind of her story and a particular, perspective on things. But I think, as maybe you all saw and felt today, there's many universal aspects to many of the stories in the film. What does it mean to love and be loved? What does it mean to learn and to have access to an education without people who have different points of view about who you are and how you live your life, being able to prevent your ability to just go to school and get the education that everyone deserves? What does it mean to be a leader in your community? And why shouldn't everyone have the ability to contribute their talents and their skills in their community? So I think those are universal things that we all hope that we have the opportunity to achieve in our life. And I think through sharing this film, and I think what I want to ask you is the opportunity coming up for national broadcast it's a unique opportunity for these kinds of stories from Hawaii to be seen and digested over there on the continent, where I think they're in great need of these kinds of stories, positive and inspiring stories about how we can build communities that are welcoming and inclusive for everybody. So if you guys are the kind of folks that engage in social media, I would ask you to join us on Facebook, on Instagram, or on Twitter, and share your thoughts about what you saw here today, and tell people everywhere that this film is going to be broadcast on May 4th. Thanks.
Are there any other questions? Yes.
I have a question for you. What do you think would be the greatest lesson that you would like to impart to us here today after hearing about your stories and your experience as a teacher yourself? What would you like to impart to all of us as your students here right now? What kind of message?
Can I add something? I think that the major part of our audience here is students in ESOL classes, and a lot of the students are here today. They were brought by their instructors because this is part of the Diversity Month series, and so a lot of students here, you know, they're trying to understand this idea of diversity and acceptance and understanding people who are different from them. So maybe in some ways, you know, you have mentioned, now that people have seen this film, right, what should they do now that they have seen this film? Beyond promoting it and you know, telling people about it, but in order to be supportive allies, you know, to accept and promote diversity in the world and in their communities, what would you want them to do now?
Okay, in order to answer your question, I'm going to do the Hawaiian thing and answer your question with a question. How many of you are not born and raised in Hawaii? Hands up. How many of you are not born and raised here
All
in Hawaii?
the ESL 97 students, raise your hand.
Okay, hands up high. Mahalo, hands down. How many of you are born and raised here in Hawaii? Mahalo. Out of those of you born and raised here in Hawaii, how many of you are Hawaiian? Mahalo. How many of you, and this is for the same group of people, how many of you are part Asian, be it Japanese, Chinese, Filipino? Mahalo. How many of you, same group, are part Caucasian? Okay, mahalo. The majority of everyone else comes from where? And I'll get to the point why I'm asking. Where are you all from? Korean. Ah, anywhere else?
China.
China. Okay. Where? Japan. Sweden. Mahalo. Okay. Canada. Who's Canada? You?
Foreigner.
Philippines.
Ah, the Philippines as well. There are, for me, there's the Hawaiian cultural identity of my personal life and the story that came to you in the film. There is also the Hawaiian political life that comes to you in this film, and you saw it when we were standing with the former director, Hala Lokahi, standing with the students, and they were singing our Hawaiian national anthem. And what I would leave with you today is, for as much as you may embrace the ways of another country and another culture, for as much as you may look at things on social media and things on YouTube and listen to music, and for much as you may look at all of these things, don't ever forget to embrace very closely and hold very dearly to you the elements that represent the ethnic background you come from, be it Korean, Chinese, Japanese, Filipino, or any place else. Because that diversity, the diversity that we seek, also comes from embracing the ethnic differences that make us different. And not only that, but finding the commonalities between what makes us different and that which connects us and makes us the same. My Hawaiian ethnic and cultural identity is tied into my Hawaiian political identity. And so when you hear Joel saying the continent, he's referring to the continental United States. And I am personally not a card-carrying, flag-waving American patriot. That is not who I am. And if someone will ask me, are you American? I will say, I hold a United States passport, but I'm not American. And so for those of you, especially because this is a very diverse ethnic class makeup, and you are all from different areas, take pride in where you are from. Take pride in the culture and the history of your people. Because there are ways to lift yourself up and lift up the name of your people and your land at the same time, just by virtue of the good things that you as individuals will do. And on top of that, what you do as an individual and what you do as a cumulative body. What you will learn, what maybe some of you will take back to your homeland, and some of you will go take with you wherever you end up in your life. That is one of the things that I would like you to walk away with, because the film, again, it shows my view of what I feel is Hawaiian and my understanding of aloha. And the question would be, what do you understand as your concept of some of the same kind of word in your language, in your culture? Are there similarities? Are there differences? And as I encouraged you earlier, be critical thinkers about that. Analyze things and really think. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Sorry, it was kind of long. Answered your question.
So if there aren't any more questions, I think we will just wrap up. And thank you again so much to our panelists. Thank you for coming and for showing this film. You want to have any last words, Clay? Okay, thank you very much.
Before everyone leaves, could we take a group picture with anybody that would be interested in being in a picture with Kumu HIna?
Yeah.
We would love to. This is such a beautiful audience, and we really appreciate your attention and.
Can I stand there?
Perfect. Okay. Is that okay with everybody? You okay to be in a photo? Because this is amazing, and we really want to thank you and celebrate this Diversity Month that you're kicking off today. Congratulations, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of it.
Thank you.